Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Bros Discuss Star Wars Who Would Win series. This episode will be the classic Anakin vs. Obi Wan with no high ground. So, quick recap of the rules. There are four categories: melee, force powers, intelligence, and wildcard. The first three categories are worth 1 point, and wildcard is worth 2. And then the score between each character is tallied up at the end, and whoever gets the most points wins. And now going over the four categories. Melee. Who would win in a purely physical fight or duel assuming no force enhanced abilities? Force powers. Knowledge of the force, mastery of the force, and raw force power. Intelligence. Cunning, strategic thinking, and experience/wisdom. And then wild card, which can be anything including in-universe feats and unique character traits. Okay, melee I think definitely goes to Anakin. Not only is he stronger, he also has a prosthetic arm, which gives him enhanced cybernetic abilities because of that. And then he prefers Form 5 lightsaber combat, which is based off strength and aggression. And then Obi-Wan's style of lightsaber combat is Form 3, which is based off of defense and waiting for your opponent to tire out. So, in a short fight, I think Anakin would overwhelm Obi-Wan with his superior strength and his fighting style. I give Obi-Wan the clear intelligence victory because, like I said in Melee, Anakin tends to rely on brute force and also luck in combat, whereas Obi-Wan is more strategic and more prone to diplomacy. And then, of course, the perfect example is that you see in the Episode 3 movie where Obi-Wan knows that he can't beat Anakin in a straight-up melee fight, so he jumps to the high ground and then gains the superior strategic advantage, thus challenging Anakin to step up to him, which obviously he didn't. Not to mention that, but Obi-Wan was also a well-respected general in the Clone Wars, and he used a lot more strategy than well thought out strategy that is than Anakin did in his battles. Okay, moving on to force powers. While Obi-Wan was a very powerful and respected force user, Anakin was the chosen one, uh, obviously destined to bring balance to the Force, so that implies a very high Force potential. Not to mention that he had a higher midichlorian count than even Yoda, which just indicates how much raw power he had, regardless of his discipline in using it. And then when he loses most of his potential and becomes Darth Vader, he can still overpower almost every Jedi with his Force powers. So I think Anakin's definitely the surefire winner in the Force power contest. And finally, wild card. I give the wild card victory to Obi-Wan. If you remember earlier, I mentioned how Anakin's cybernetic arm would give him a strength advantage in the melee fight. Well, I think it actually gives Obi-Wan the advantage in the wild card, because I think Obi-Wan, using his superior strategic know-how, would use the Force and mess with Anakin's cybernetic arm to make it useless, and then Obi-Wan could either take advantage of Anakin's surprise and gain the upper hand, or gain the physical advantage because his opponent's down one limb. I think that would have been a cool element to see in their fight in the movie. But in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, Obi-Wan actually does use that technique on both General Grievous and Anakin. And while it doesn't incapacitate either one of his opponents, it does help Obi-Wan gain an edge in their duel. So, wildcard victory goes to Obi-Wan. Tallying up the points, we have Obi-Wan at 3, Anakin at 2, high ground at 0. So the winner of the second episode of the Who Would Win series is Obi-Wan. And if you guys like this episode, please give a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.